All right, so you're gearing up for the OET speaking test. You know it's a big deal, but what are the examiners actually listening for? Let's just cut through the confusion, shall we? We're going to dive right in and break down exactly what it takes to get that top score. Okay, so here's the absolute key to understanding this whole thing. Your final score? It's built on two totally equal pillars. Think of it like a bridge. If one pillar is weak, the whole thing kind of comes down. On one side, you've got your hard language skills, how clear and accurate your English is. And on the other, you have your clinical communication skills, which is basically your bedside manner. And trust me, you can't ace this test without being rock solid on both.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll look at the two pillars, first language, then clinical skills. After that, we'll see how they mix together in the 5 phases of a real consultation. I'll show you the winning formula, and we'll wrap up with a super simple checklist for test day. Ready? Let's go.
All right, let's dive into pillar 1, mastering language. This is all the technical stuff, the nuts and bolts of how you sound and the words you use. So the examiners have a kind of mental checklist, and they're listening for 4 specific things. First up is clarity. Can they literally understand the words coming out of your mouth? Then there's flow. Does it sound natural or is it choppy? Third is style. Is your tone right for a professional, caring environment? And last but definitely not least is accuracy. Are your grammar and vocabulary on point? Let's break each one down.
Okay, let's talk about flow, or what most people call fluency. The sweet spot, the target zone, is just speaking at a normal, steady pace. And hey, a few natural hesitations, totally fine. Everybody does that. But where you get into trouble is the danger zone. This is when your speech gets all staccato and broken up, with tons of ums and ahs and long, awkward pauses. Think about it from the patient's side. It makes it almost impossible to follow what you're saying.
I love this visual because it just nails the concept. Imagine your speech is a river. Are you guiding your patient down a smooth, calm river where they can just relax and listen? Or are you throwing them into some crazy rocky rapids where they're struggling just to keep their head above water? Your goal is to be that smooth, flowing river. Make it easy for them. Next up, style. And man, this one is all about finding the right balance. You're aiming for that sweet spot where you sound professional but also genuinely caring. Where do people go wrong? They either get way too casual, which is unprofessional, and this is a big one, they use super technical medical jargon that just flies right over the patient's head. Remember, your job is to be a translator, making complex ideas simple. You're not there to show off your vocabulary. Okay, now for accuracy. And listen, this one is a non-negotiable. It is absolutely crucial. Think about it this way. Your grammar and vocabulary are your main tools. If your tools are good, you can build a clear picture for the patient. But if you're in the danger zone with constant mistakes in your grammar, well, those aren't just little errors. They can actually change the meaning of what you're saying. And that could confuse a patient about their diagnosis or treatment plan, which is, frankly, dangerous. So getting your sentence structure right, this isn't just about passing a test. It's about patient safety, period. All right, we've nailed down the language part. So let's swing over to the other side, to pillar 2, clinical skills. Because it's not just what you say, right? It's how you say it. It's how you connect with the patient as a person. This is the art of your bedside manner. So a really great consultation, a high-scoring one, is always built on these 4 core steps. It's a simple flow. First, you connect and show you understand. Then you give the conversation a clear structure. After that, you're gathering information, and finally, you're giving information back. We're going to see how this plays out in a real conversation. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with step 1, building that relationship. This is so much more than just a quick hello. It's about that warm greeting, right? Showing real empathy. Taking a second to notice their cues. Do they look scared? Are they wincing in pain? When you acknowledge that stuff right at the beginning, you build a foundation of trust instantly. Now for step 2, you have to step up and be the guide. You're the one in charge here, leading the patient through the conversation. What does that look like? Well, it means asking questions in a logical order, and it means using really simple signposts, little phrases like, okay, now let's move on to, or next I'd like to ask you about. This is like the glue that holds the whole thing together, making sure the patient never gets lost. Okay, so we've got the theory, the 2 pillars, but theory is one thing, right? Let's see how this stuff actually works in a real consultation. A typical patient visit flows through 5 clear phases, and this is where you get to put both of those pillars, your language and your clinical skills, to work, step by step. So a really great consultation just flows through these 5 stages.
You start with introductions, then you move into the questioning phase, followed by informing. Sometimes you'll need a persuading phase, and then you wrap it all up with a solid conclusion.
Let's look at phase 1, introductions. This is your golden opportunity to use that build a relationship skill right away. And your opening line really depends on the context, right? If you're in a clinic, a simple, "So, what brings you in today?" works perfectly. But if you're on a hospital ward seeing a patient in bed, you're going to want to be more direct. Something like, "Hello, Maria, how are you feeling this morning?" All right, phase 2, the art of questioning. This is where you put that gathering information skill to the test. But I need you to pay super close attention to the danger zone warning here. This is probably the single biggest syntax mistake beginners make. Do not, I repeat, do not ask compound questions. You can't just throw out, "Are you feeling sick and you have a headache and have you been dizzy?" It's a mess. It's confusing for the patient. You have to ask one single question at a time. It's so much cleaner grammatically and way more effective for getting good information. Now we're in phase 3, informing. This is where you switch gears and start giving information. And your phrasing here is key. You need to be clear and professional. When it's time to give a diagnosis, something direct like, "Okay, the test results are back and they show it's likely a condition we call is perfect." It gives them the facts clearly without being scary or overly technical. So we've looked at all the different pieces of the puzzle. Now for the really cool part. Let's put it all together. This is what I call the winning formula, where you'll see exactly how the skills from both pillars click together to create a perfect score. Okay, this slide right here, this is the whole ballgame. This is how you take all that theory and make it real. Look at this example. You take your language accuracy, that's pillar 1, and you combine it with the clinical skill of gathering information, that's pillar 2. And what do you get? You get the ability to ask a perfectly structured, single question to find out exactly what's wrong. See? It's not about language or clinical skills. The magic happens when you do both at the very same time.
Whew, we've covered a ton of ground, haven't we? So let's boil it all down to a super simple checklist you can take with you just to lock in these key ideas for test day.
Here is your final checklist. 3 simple things. Number 1, just breathe and let your words flow. Don't force it. Number 2, this is a big one. Talk to the person in front of you like they're a real patient who actually needs you. Don't think of them as an examiner. And number 3, keep it simple and keep it structured. Always remember, you are the guide in that room. And I want you to leave with this thought. You've already done the hard part. You have the medical knowledge. That's not what's being tested here. This test, it's all about your ability to make that simple human connection. So we've broken it all down. We've given you the formula. We've given you the checklist. The only question left is, are you ready to go out and build that perfect patient encounter? You've got the blueprint. Now it's time to get to work.